This anime season has been stacked, with so many big name shows returning for another season. Other shows must do something to stand out, and oh damn, did Zenitsu be a hero deliver. A 1 hour premiere full of action and insane animation. The show follows our main character Xylo, who is a hero, but in this world heroes are frowned upon as it's considered the biggest punishment a criminal can get and is given to the worst people possible, or so we are made to believe. They possess something called a sacred seal, which is the power system in this world, with Xylo having the ability to basically fly and the power to make swords and knives explode on impact. With what I think is the most important part of being a hero, the fact that they are immortal, and if they do die in a battle, they are forced back to life to keep fighting. Off the bat, we are shown that this world is in a constant battle with demons, which are referred as fairies, that are being controlled by a demon lord. There are also goddesses in this world which are there to support knights in battle. In the first episode, the knights that were in charge of transporting a goddess were suddenly attacked. In the middle of all this chaos, the first hero that we are introduced to, called Dota, managed to escape carrying a big box. Later on, we learned that that box was carrying a goddess. That goddess then wakes up and forms a pact with Xylo, which works in his favor since the goddess, Tearita, has the ability to summon swords. Though Xylo isn't a fond of Tearita or goddesses in general, which we later learn might be connected to his crime that made him a hero, killing a goddess. Before I talk more on the story and my thoughts on it, let's talk about the most obvious thing, the animation. Oh my god, did it not disappoint. It seems that we are in an era where animation just keeps on getting better and better, with Studio Kai coming in with a bang and bringing in the big guns with the staff of Mushoku Tensei Season 1. The art style and music also does not disappoint at all. The animation and art style alone makes the show worth watching, but what about the story? For starters, I never had any idea about anything involving the show. I went in blindly and have not read or heard of the light novel or manga at all. The whole take on heroes being seen in a negative light is interesting and something new. The characters are quite interesting, especially learning what crime each hero has committed that led to them being sentenced as a hero. I'm also intrigued in learning more about the church, which seems to be involved in framing Xylo for the crime he was accused of committing, as well as learning in episode 4 during Vetami's backstory on the crime he was sentenced for. We learned that he is a con man and he had created one of the biggest stories involving the church. That story being that the church has been infiltrated by demon lord worshippers, which turns out to be true. Now let's talk about my favorite character at this point of the show. He's royalty, he's a king. He should never be referred as his real name. He is only known as His Majesty. At first, he is shown as someone with the delusion of being the king of the Federated Kingdom and not just a hero like the others. At first, I was not impressed or interested in his character, but oh boy did that change on episode 3. When he went as can only be described as berserk and gave everything he had to protect the civilians in that cave. Even though the knights were told to leave them behind, he stood up and actually acted like a true king. My man has become a goddamn legend in just one episode, and I cannot wait to learn more about his backstory. For the other characters, I haven't really decided if I like them yet. Maybe that'll change when we near the end of the season. Xylo alone, I don't have much to say about him as a character. I do though want to see if the anime goes deeper into the relationship he had with the previous goddess he had a pact with. His actions and beliefs are slowly being shown each episode, and he can be an interesting character, especially learning more about why he was targeted and framed. Maybe even learning if everything that has happened to him is connected to the church being infiltrated by demon lord worshippers. Tearita as a character hasn't grown on me, but I do find it interesting the whole concept of goddesses being created and how Tearita was originally supposed to be used by the church to be dissected. The story itself, well, I am intrigued with knowing more about the world, but I don't know just yet if I really enjoy it. As of me making this video, we are just about at the halfway mark of this season, with episode 5 being the latest release. At this moment, the anime is being rated as an 8.28 on MAL, but let's be honest, a majority of the time these ratings don't matter. There are also your usual people online who are already calling this anime the anime of the year, which I think we need to relax and wait. Personally, I cannot give any sort of rating for the show at the moment, as I want to see how everything pans out when the whole season is completed. Maybe the story pulls me in completely by the end of it, or maybe it falls apart. There are still roughly 2 months left of the show, and from previous experiences, Wonder Egg, I don't want to get excited by a new show this early and be left disappointed at the end. But what I can say is that it's so nice seeing more fantasy shows that are not your typical recycled isekai stuff. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy my isekai trash animes, but I do want actual good fantasy anime. As I mentioned before, the story at the moment hasn't fully drawn me in. Maybe when the show finishes, I can make a follow-up video and give my final thoughts on it. One thing that we can all agree on is that this is an amazing start for anime in 2026. The winter season is stacked, with spring looking to be the same or even more stacked. Looks like we are eating good this year. Once again, I do want to see how the show ends, but until then, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys on the next one.